Madam Chairman, members of the South Carolina House of Representatives Grant Committee, thank you. I'm going to forego my accolades for the sake of time. Just to be clear, the anesthesia care team that we're speaking about, the anesthesiologists, are the physician anesthesiologist and the nurse anesthetist. Nobody else in the room is the care team. They can handle stuff, we can send them for stuff, but they are not the care team. So when my colleagues here stand up and say that they're in a care team model when they're practicing alone, that is disingenuous. That is not what we're saying. So I am coming up on my 27th year in Greenwood, South Carolina as a partner and president of anesthesiology at Greenwood. My group is made up of 10 physician anesthesiologists and 20 nurse anesthetists. We all work together in a team model which is led by the physician anesthesiologist. The World Health Organization, the same organization that's dealing with the coronavirus pandemic, recently published the International Standards for a Safe Practice of Anesthesia. I want to read one line from that document. Wherever and whenever possible, anesthesia should be provided, led, or overseen by an anesthesiologist. The line is followed in parentheses with the words highly recommended in capital letters in bold print. And I have some copies for that for you guys if you need them. I believe that the citizens of South Carolina deserve the safest anesthetic care. The same anesthetic care that the World Health Organization believes is the best. South Carolina citizens get the safest anesthetic care now. It's what they expect. Safe anesthesia care is what we should continue to deliver. I'd like to tell you a story that recently happened to the anesthesia care team which I was leading. The nurse anesthetist and I were charged with anesthetizing a 375-pound gentleman who was a diabetic, paraplegic, who had sores on his buttocks that the surgeon needed to tend to. The most pertinent part of this was the gentleman had a tracheostomy, much like this. Same thing. Goes from the outside of the skin of the neck into his windpipe. You can pass that around. Would like. It was not well kept, and so we changed it out before surgery to make sure it was a functioning tracheostomy. So we brought the patient, the nurse anesthetist and I brought the patient to the operating room. We connected that tube to the anesthesia gas hoses from the machine, and we anesthetized the patient on the stretcher. We then flipped.
You need to kind of wrap it up for us.
So, about everything was going well. About 30 minutes into the case, I get a frantic call from the nurse anesthetist saying that they're not able to move air. Basically, everybody's seen this on television where they're bagging a patient with a tube. We had about 1 minute and 30 seconds before this patient went south. So I raced into the room. I felt the bag. I told the nurse in the room, not the nurse anesthetist, get the patient's stretcher immediately. Told the surgeon to put something on the patient's buttocks that we were flipping him over. Mind you, this is in the middle of surgery. This doesn't happen. So we flipped the patient over, removed the tube, put a new one in, and everything was well. What had happened was some secretions, a mucus plug, had gotten in the end of that tube that you have there, and you could not move air at all. This is where split seconds count. Patients' lives hang in the balance. In this situation, we had about 2 minutes before the patient started going south, essentially needing CPR. The surgeons listened to and believed what I tell them. I am their peer. I sat next to them in med school, taking the same test they did, learning the same in-depth details of the human body and its systems. Anesthesiologists have a command of the situations in the operating room, which the CRNA does not have. The CRNAs are an invaluable part of the anesthesia care team, but should not be given the ability to practice independently. There is a big difference between nursing school and medical school. a bigger difference between CRNA school and anesthesia residency. And if the CRNAs want to practice independently, they should go to medical school.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Representative Cox?
Thank you. So you said you're the president of Greenwood Anesthesiologists, something like that?
Anesthesiology agreement, yes, sir.
Okay. Can you talk to us a little bit about the cost and what effect on the cost of anesthesia this might have, or how it's currently billed and coded? And
The cost would not change at all for hospitals or Medicare or Medicaid. Currently, I can supervise 4 rooms. I split that fee, which is rough for Medicare, it's roughly $20. The nurse gets $10, nurse anesthetist gets $10, I get $10. Okay, $20 a unit.
okay.
4 rooms, total of $80. If I do that by myself, that case, if I was without a nurse anesthetist, it would be, I would get $20. Let me get this straight, so to the system, that we currently have, it's never gonna be more than $80, okay, for that 1 unit. It always gets split when I work with a nurse anesthetist. If the nurse anesthetist worked by herself, it would be $20. Same thing with me, $20. So in this situation, I'm running 4 rooms because I know they're gonna say this, that they would get 10, or in my case, the organization gets the money and the Anesthesiology Greenwood, but they would get $10